Okay, so in this lecture, what we're going to be doing is adding our first layer onto our shark, which is going to be our shadows. But before we can start that, there's a few things we need to do first. First, I'm going to go ahead and show you our color scheme for this shark. Now, we may not be using all of these colors for our shark. This is just our general color scheme and all the colors I pulled aside for it. So to start, we have Canary Yellow. If you're using Prismacolors, these are the Prismacolor names. If you're not using Prismacolors, go ahead and try to find colors that are as similar as you can to these. So this is just a ordinary yellow. Then we have Pink. Then we have Mulberry for the Prismacolors, or a kind of neutral pink, pinkish purple there. Then we have Orange, Violet Blue, and Peach. So once again, we may not use all of these colors for our shark. This is just the general color scheme. So for now, let's go ahead and just set these to the side, because I forgot to do something in our later lecture part of our layout. Let's go ahead and take our black colored pencil, and we're going to add some lines for his gills, which I forgot to do. So we're just going to go ahead and add 3 lines going along his body there. Now remember, when you do your shark, you can go ahead and add some things to him to make him a little bit more personalized or give him some more character. Like if you like, you can put a fish hook going through his fin, or maybe a hat on top of his head, or a bone going through his nose, anything you want. You can also give him tattoos, or just get creative with it. So we have this, we added our gills, so now let's go ahead and add our first layer, which is going to be our shadows. So for our shadows, we're going to go with this blue here. Now I know it's not black because we want this to look nice and warm and inviting and cartoon looking, so we want our shadows to look cool and dark, so we're going to go with this violet blue. So let's go ahead and just start adding our shadows. So we already decided that our light source is going to be coming from up here, so first, let's go ahead and add a faint shadow along here on his back fin. Now remember not to go super dark at first in case you mess up. Alright, and now we're going to bring the shadow to about there and have it fade into nothing. So now let's do another layer and make it a little bit darker up towards the top. Alright, and another layer. And let's do a nice hard line right along there. There we go. And then blend that in. Do the same thing over here, and then fade it out the further down we get. Alright, and there we go. Now let's go ahead and move over here. We're going to add some shadows along his belly. So let's go ahead and start drawing these in. So we're starting out very light. Then we'll come back through and add more layers. We're going to pull this shadow all the way up along his tail and down. Just like that. Now let's make these lines a little bit darker with the blue. And our next layer is being applied now. We're going to make this little back fin darker than the front one since it's in the back. Just like that. Now let's continue with our dark line. Continue pulling it along his tail. So pretty much we want our shadows darkest to the edge and then fading out towards the more we get towards the center of his body. Alright, so we have his belly all drawn in with shadows. Now we're going to take our blue and just lightly put a little bit along his chin. Just like that. Now let's come along to his eye and put a little bit under his eye. We don't want to put too much because it will make him look like he's stressed out or tired. It's just a little bit under there. And then let's go along the back of his gills and add some shadows in there. Just like that. And then let's add a little bit along his back fin and the back of his tail there. Just very faintly, we don't want these ones too intense. Then let's put a little bit more under his mouth right there. So right now he may be looking a little bit funky because we just have our shadows in. But once we start adding more color and putting them more together, he's going to look a lot more vibrant and colorful. So that's all for the shadows in this lecture. Go to the next lecture to then add in our highlights, and then we can get to actually putting the color in his body and bringing it all together.